All right, all right. The truth with text. Hey, there was a few uh, problems, technically, a few technical problems, um, but we're on now. All right. So we're just going to go over some definitions to start out with tonight. I really didn't have a plan, but I wanted to jump on here, see how many people we can jump on, start a conversation. I always enjoy having conversations with like-minded individuals and other individuals that ain't necessarily like-minded, uh, and I will show them where all of this is. You don't believe me? That's fine. I'm gonna show it where it's written down in their stuff. I didn't write it down. I didn't make it up, but I did read it. I can understand what I read because what it says is what it says, and what it doesn't say, right? I can direct you to the place where all of this is written down, and you can see for yourself. And if you don't believe me, then what can I tell you? Um, you can lead a blind horse to water, but you sure as hell can't make them drink. Anyways, moving forward, uh, definitions. Let's go over some definitions I've given y'all in the past. First up, definition of person. There's 78 different terms to define the word person. None of them are living man and woman. It might be corporation, it might be company, it could be a bank or a trust or land or lands or property or a slave or a servant or whatever, whatever, whatever. None of them are living men and women. That definition is reserved solely for the people. People are defined as uh, living men and women. Um, and by the way, constitutional rights are only afforded to the people. If you want to know what I think about all of this nonsense here lately over the past 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it's been, there's 152 different genders. That's to get everybody identifying as something that is other than a man or woman, so that they can be easily slid into the citizenship class and stripped of all of their uh, constitutional rights. You can keep the dumb people dumber by saying there's such a thing as 152 different genders. You could be whatever you like. Hey, that much they're telling you is true. You could be a citizen, or you could be a national, or you could be the creditor, or you could be the debtor. So one side we're talking about private, one side we're talking about commerce. Uh, there is a de jure government and a de jure reality, the truth, and then there is a fiction. And a fiction is a mirror image perversion of what is actually real. Um, it looks similar, but in law, similar does not mean same. It doesn't matter how slight. If it's similar, it is not same in law. Now, uh, moving on, uh, let's look at the definition of the United States. USC 320. I'm sorry, Title 28 USC 3002 15A. The United States is a corporation. All right. The United States is also the principal debtor. When you look up in UCC 9, I think it's 703. Let me make sure I don't want to give y'all the wrong information here. UCC 9. They just sticking together. 9307H. I'm sorry. 9307H. UCC. Title 9 UCC. Section 307H. The location of the debtor is in Washington, D.C. 10 by 10 square miles and all outlying territories. That's the end of their geographical or territorial jurisdiction in any court. Okay. 10 square miles of Washington, D.C., and all outlying territories, forts, ports, and garrisons. Nothing else. Okay. Moving forward, let's look at the definition of tax. As legally defined, the word tax is a contribution imposed. Look up the definition of contribution. Definition of contribution is a gift. Impose. Legal definition of the word impose: to obtain through trickery and deceit. Now, let's just talk about the word legal. As legally defined, the word legal means the undoing of God's law. So there you go. You can either act lawfully or you can act legally. That tells you a lot about your public servants that are acting legally and telling you that you are acting illegally, or that that's not legal. Well, thank heavens for that. Moving on. What other definitions can we look at here? The definition of the word "of" is a modifier. All right, in the English language, "of" modifies something, which means that it is like something, but not necessarily that something. In other words, similar is not same. All right, in law, similar is not same. So, if you're talking about the state of Texas, that means there's a state that is like Texas, but not necessarily Texas. Similar is not same. But what is that state? It's a capital S, right? Or the entirety is capitalized. State of Texas. That's not proper grammar. So you know something's awry. Anytime they try to feed you something or try to show you something or try to make you take something where proper grammar is not used, there is something awry, and you better find out about it. You better find out what it is, because you don't want to operate like they do, under assumptions, presumptions, and color of law. That's why I get to keep my boot on their fucking neck all the time. They're operating under assumption, presumption, and color of law. This here, the truth with Tex. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell them the truth. I am going to hold their feet to the fire due to the truth. So anyhow, when we talk about the state of something, there's all kind of different states, right? There's the states, there are the many states, and then there are states of states. Okay. So what state is Texas in? Or what state is Alabama in? Or Georgia, California? They're in a constant state of reorganization due to their insolvency, due to their bankruptcy. All right. They're in a state of war with their people. They're in a commercial state. So which one are they talking about? Ask the judge. Judge going to act as dumb as she thinks you are. That's all right. Put your boot on her neck. Moving forward, there's a lot of different things that would appall you. Let's just talk about for a minute the all capitalized name. Now, we learn in grammar school that the English language, when you're writing, is not in all capital letters, right? The first word of a sentence is going to be capitalized, and then you move forward into proper nouns are all capitalized. If something is all capitalized, it is considered to be a dead entity. All right. What else? What is a dead entity? A corporation. What is a corporation? That's a mix of Greek and Latin. Corpus meaning body, and typically is in reference to a dead body, and ation meaning movement or animation. So you got an animated dead body. Why did people create corporations or animated dead bodies? It's all biblical. Just like Jesus died on the cross to absolve us of our sins, corporations were created in order to take the liability off the living and place it on the dead entity. Hold on. The internet over here. Anyhow, so that's why corporations were created to begin with. Now, when we're talking about the people and they're the only ones with the constitutional rights, everybody believes they're U.S. citizens. Let's talk about the definition of the word citizen. Black's Law First Edition, citizen was simply defined as sea slave. Look up the definition of slave. There's citizen, lowercase c, not uppercase c. You don't see that word again in Black's Law Dictionary until the 8th edition, where it is defined as a municipal servant. Municipal defined as having to do with municipality. So you look up municipality. What is a municipality? It is defined as a closely related group of corporations sharing a common interest while occupying a similar geographical territory. That's municipality. And so servant, a municipal servant is a citizen. What is servant? Black's Law, 8th edition. C, slave. A corporate slave. If you want to be a citizen, lowercase c, then by all means do so. But you're nothing more than a corporate slave. That's what you want to be. By all means, go do it. Everybody is born with a dual citizenship, capital C. One as a United States citizen, lowercase c, and the other one as an American national or a state national. That term is changed from time to time by the government within their documents or their publications in order to keep people guessing and keep people on their toes, or to keep people like you, when watching people like me, to say we're full of shit. If anybody wants to say I'm full of shit, that's okay. Let's debate it out. I'm gonna show you everywhere it's written. All right. I didn't make this shit up. I didn't make it up. I didn't write it down. All I did was read it. Now, I'm gonna tell you where to go to look this up that I tell you. If you still don't agree with me, what can I say? You can lead a blind horse to water, but you can't make that son of a bitch take even one drink. Also, if you're taking all of your information simply from what old text says or what any other guru or whatever says, okay, you're foolish. There's a lot of people out there that start learning about this stuff. They learn a little bit, and the first thing they want to do is start filing paperwork. You better not do that. You have to understand principles of law. You have to understand public versus private. You've got to understand separation of powers. You've got to understand legal definitions. There's a lot of things that you need to understand that are very basic. And if you don't have that basic understanding, then you're just doing shit. You're just doing shit and not knowing where the fuck you're going with it. It's like a little dog just chasing his damn tail. If he caught it, he wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. And that's the same thing you're doing if you're not taking your time reading, not just looking at what's on YouTube, not just reading the documents that other people have written and put out there, and then using them as if they're your own, changing the name on it. You can't do that. You got to write your own shit. But first, you need to understand principles of law. You need to understand definitions. You need to understand that if there's a word that you look at that you are not sure of, and I guarantee you, if it's put out there by a lawyer, you don't know not nary one of them fucking words. You better open a law dictionary and start reading it. Because not a single one of those words on there is verbiage that you understand in legal terminology. Not one. So, you need to understand definitions, and you need to understand separation of powers. All right. You need to understand what each one of them does and how they're supposed to have checks and balances on the other. Maybe then you could start putting in paperwork. You need to understand public and private. People will attempt to make private correspondence with a CFO or with a judge or something and send that shit certified mail. You're a fucking idiot. They're going to say, oh, this guy's a dumbass. He doesn't know what he's doing. Because you just sent something that is titled private correspondence commercially. Registered mail is private. Certified mail is commercial. One is the United States Post Office. The other one is the United States Postal Service. I'm telling you, there's two things running a race right here. You've got the de jure, you've got the reality, you've got what is real and true. And then you've got the mirrored image fucking perversion of what is real and true. All right? And they're moving parallel to each other at the same time. You can be in one, but you cannot be in both at the same time. You can be in one or the other, but you can't mix jurisdictions, which is commerce and private, or public and private. You can't mix public and private. The dead cannot contract with the living. All right? So, in other words, a corporation can contract with a corporation, and a man can contract with a man or woman. But a man cannot contract with a corporation. That's why they're using your all capitalized name as a transmitting utility, as a pass-through, so that you may involve yourself in commerce. Same reason you got a social security number, because you got to have an employee identification number or a taxpayer identification number in order to engage in commerce. Let's talk about the word bank. What is the word bank? The word bank, the word bank is defined as anyone engaged in banking business. What is banking business? Banking business is a commercial activity. And what is commerce? Anytime there is an offer or acceptance of the instrumentalities of commerce. What is an instrumentality of commerce? Instrumentality of commerce is a negotiable instrument. It might mean a international bill of exchange. It might mean a promissory note. It might mean an IOU. It might mean a Federal Reserve note, which is a debt note, which is an IOU. Okay. Well, Picasso, or if you're driving, I'm going to drop the link right here again. Let me see where the link is. Invite. Copy. I'm going to drop it again. Paste. Send it. All right. Don't be writing no long ass damn paragraphs and phrases. Oh shit, you're driving. Click the fucking link and jump on, Picasso, so I can hear your voice. Anyways, so You ain't lying, Reggie. You ain't lying. People want to know, but then they don't want to know because ignorance is bliss. Well, let me tell you something. When you're ignorant, you got to pay for it because you can't get something for nothing. If you're living in a blissful state, or in other words, an ignorant state, you pay taxes. All right, you pay taxes. You're subject to legalities, otherwise codes, regulations, policies, uh, ordinances, etc., etc. Um, when you're not ignorant, now you pay to not be ignorant too. You pay to be smart. You pay in your time. Uh, it is very. It takes a lot of due diligence in order to learn this stuff. But I'm trying to break it down for y'all to where at least you'll know where to go to find the stuff. If anybody has a question about anything, they're welcome to ask me. And if I don't know it, I'm gonna tell you I don't know it. But I'll sure enough find it, and then I'm gonna tell you where to find it. You go look it up and read it yourself, and then we'll both know. Anyhow, Picasso, where are you at? I know you ain't gonna jump on the chat, or you ain't gonna jump on the live and talk to me, but you will fucking type something out like I'm somewhere 15 miles west of Terre Haute, Indiana, coming up on whatever highway or some crazy shit. All right. Well, log in. Anyhow. So, oh, you're almost in Austin. Coming from the south or coming from the north? Or east or west? Never mind. You don't need to be texting while you're in the 18-wheeler out on the Great American Highway, fucking off everybody else. Let's talk about American jurisprudence, maybe. So, what is American jurisprudence? So, American jurisprudence is American theory of law that is put out there by Supreme Court justices. Okay. A lot of people are really interested in right to travel, right? What is travel? So, the ability to move one's self from one place to another. That is also one of the travel is also one of the terms used to. I'm gonna put you on, Picasso. Picasso, you on?
Can you hear me?
I got you.
All right. Hold on a second. Let me get this blue carrot out.
No worries.
It's not a bird. It's a headset.
Real quick, let me get this out. So the word travel is one of the terms used to define liberty. Now, in and of itself, is there not liberty and justice for all? Liberty is travel. You've got enumerated and unenumerated rights in the Constitution. Unenumerated rights are rights that are considered so basic to the people that they don't need to be written down. The word liberty is throughout the Declaration of Independence. It's throughout the Constitution. So why did they not write it down? Because they already put down that any person or persons or people or men, two or more, that would in disguise travel along the roads or highways to pilfer or rob the people of their wealth shall be guilty of land piracy. Who do you know that disguises theirself? Wears a fucking costume. Refers to themselves as their last name with a title in front of it that does not actually belong to them. Whose vehicle doesn't have identifying plates. And runs up and down the roads and highways and steals and robs from the people. I'm just throwing that out there. Who is it? You know who they are. Anyways, Picasso, jump on here. I just had to get that out.
Okay, I'm here. How y'all doing?
What's going on, Kenny? All right. Hey, what's happening, Picasso? You lie.
I'm chilling. I need Reggie to retract what he said earlier. He's scared.
Oh.
Nah, I ain't scared.
If
What
that's
what it
all it
was?
took,
Go ahead, go
if
ahead.
that's all it took was to call you scared, I'd have called you scared five lives ago.
That kind of did it, but the real thing was that um, I tried to get on a lot of shows, but I think I was going through Google Chrome or something like that, and it kept asking me for a password. And then one day it got through. Then it was trying to put my real name
Oh yeah. Okay. Hello.
on Safari, and then can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah, it
got
put
you.
me this time. It put me through Safari, and then it asked me what name did I want to put up there and all that stuff. So I say we in.
All right.
We, mhm.
Picasso, fantastic. All right. So what kind of questions do you have? What do you want to talk about?
You know what? I was on this show that was that I used to go on, and some people were on there. I'm gonna tell you, dealing with boxing, and they were. I'm just trying to keep from saying anybody's name because I don't think I need
I
to
understand.
exploit anybody. But the conversation was about trust, and I I thought about it and I said I need to do that, but I don't know how to start it. And you know how you go to the bank and ask them, hey, I need to put this in the trust and da 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 under such and such name, and just say if you do have somebody's name to put it under, it's got to be somebody um, that's healthy, that's gonna most likely be around when uh, while you older, right? So that's my question. Trust.
Okay. So let's talk about trust real quick. So trust, there's everybody can have a different role to play, right? But your three basic roles within a trust is the grantor, executor, or creator. All right, and they're all the same. It means whoever created the trust. You've got the creator of the trust, and then you've got the trustee. The trustee is what's going to administer the trust. All right. And the trust was created for the benefit of somebody, and you've got a beneficiary. They're the ones that are the beneficiary of the trust. Now, you can be an executor and a beneficiary, and you could be a trustee and a beneficiary, but you can't be all three. You've also got other fiduciaries, right? Which is a trustee. They're the ones that are going to administer the trust for the benefit of the beneficiary. Um, how to set one up? There's multiple different trusts. You could do living trusts. You could do private trust. You could do foreign grantor trusts. You could do revocable and irrevocable trusts. So there's a lot of different trusts that you could set up that are different in their own ways. I know about the different trusts. I don't know what is inherently different about the various trusts. I have a foreign grantor irrevocable private trust. That's what I have. And that concerns me. Now, what is necessary that I have not completed yet is to set up a living trust that would place my trust as a foreign grantor, private irrevocable trust into that trust, so that you know all of my titles that are under common law copyright. Um, I say that so the all capitalized my full name, the all capitalized my name with middle initial, the all capitalized my name with middle initial with a dot after it, my last name, comma, uh, first name, middle name, and all that shit that the courts like to use, or that various commercial enterprises like to use to refer to you, or so they claim. What it is creating another transmitting utility of which securities and bonds can be written on in order to profit off of that. But I put my phone number out there, I don't know, probably 10 times. Nobody has called me or texted me not one motherfucking goddamn time.
I screenshot.
I don't mind having these private conversations, and I'm putting this shit out there for free. This is shit that a lot of people got to pay for. I'm giving it to people for free. I would always accept a donation, but it's not required, and I'm not going to ask for one. I just want people to be free, to be free financially, to be free economically, to be free to pursue whatever they want to pursue, and have everything that they need. The system is set up to provide you with everything that you need. You just got to learn it because it's all hidden in freaking bureaucracy. All right. But it is out there. And the reason it is so that all of the politicians and the judges and the lawyers and the bankers and the Federal Reserve fuckers, the little hats, they all have plausible deniability. Well, yeah, that's all true, but it's all out there. It's all a matter of public knowledge. I mean, you might have had to read through 750,000 plus pages in order to find what you were looking for, but that's why I'm here. I'm not going to tell. I'll read the shit and then I'll tell you where to go look it up. But I don't want anybody to take my word for fucking dog shit. I'm simply going to tell you I didn't make it up, and I didn't write it down, but I did read it, and this is where they have written it. Go look at it yourself. That's what I could do for everybody. But yeah, I would be more than willing to help you set up a trust or get you steered in the right direction to where you can understand what it is. When you have a bar association attorney write a fucking trust for you, be ready to fucking bend over and get fucked dry with a goddamn saguaro cactus. That's what you're going to get. That's all you're asking for right there. You're going to pay an immense amount of money for that motherfucker to consider himself, to write up the trust and place himself as the trustee and beneficiary, skip town to another fucking goddamn non-extradition country and live high on the hog off of all your fucking loot. I know because I have seen it happen. Good friend of mine owns the 4S Ranch over here in Giddings, Texas, or outside of Giddings. All right. He was a welder, pipeline welder, and he was working at a facility that belonged to a super major oil company or refinery. And they had to change out some pipe or something that was worn. And so anyways, he made sure that he asked everybody, okay, so this line is blocked and it's bled, right? There's no more gas in here. There's no kind of accelerants. There's no fumes. There's no nothing. It's been purged. Yep, that's correct. He cut into it with a torch, boom, and blowed the motherfucker up. It was burned over 80% of his body. He does not have fucking sweat glands anymore. He doesn't have pores. He can't go out in the heat for any amount of time because he doesn't sweat anymore. And he got a very large settlement. Okay, so the attorney that litigated the case on their behalf says, hey, you know, this is a lot of money, but you probably need to invested in a way, you know, and he said, well, how do I do that? He said, well, I'll take half of it and do it. A lot of the people that was fucked up, all of it, they did all of it. And she invested it in a trust. And this bitch fucking placed herself as both somebody else was the grantor, but she was the trustee and the beneficiary, and they weren't. And she fucking skipped town with all these motherfuckers' money. She got half of his. Thank goodness he didn't put all of it in there.
Man, this Range Rover just cut a truck
non-extradition country.
Good.
Sir?
No, my bad. It was a Range Rover just cut a truck off flying in this construction right here. Yeah, I thought I was going to see something.
So all I'm saying is, when you look at it from an economic and financial standpoint, it don't matter what it is. Whether it's somebody mechanicing on your car, whether it's somebody cooking you a meal, whether it's somebody providing some kind of service for you, whether it's creating a trust, you cannot have pay for somebody to do it for you as inexpensively as you can do it yourself. And if you're going to do it yourself, you're going to make sure it's fucking right, because it's your shit. It is your shit. That's why I don't understand. I don't understand when people are hiring these attorneys to go represent them. Fucking, you can't represent a living man. How do you represent a living man? All you can do is present yourself. And so, yes, it takes some time. Yes, it takes due diligence. Yes, there may be some fucking sleepless nights, but I'm telling you, I know for a fact, every motherfucker watching this shit here, every motherfucker, I know everybody works, everybody has to take care of their family, everybody got kids, got wives, got other things that's going on, got side hustles. Okay. You gonna tell me that you don't fuck off at least an hour and a half every day watching some dumbass reality show on TV, or fucking around playing Candy Crush Saga, or goddamn fucking looking up pictures of cats, or argue with strangers on the fucking Facebook? Come on. Everybody has at least 15 minutes. So when I was pretty hemmed up with work and stuff, I said, you know what? I'm going to dedicate at least 15 minutes a day for this study. And if you're dedicated 15 minutes a day studying law in a year, you're going to wear out any motherfucking lawyer that you come up against. You're going to wear their motherfucking ass out. These some bitches are going to act as dumb as they think you are. And you're going to whoop their ass. You'll be standing on their fucking neck in the courtroom, telling the judge to go get fucked. We could do all this stuff. Not only that, but in reality, if you've taken an oath, like in the military or whatever, to uphold, defend the Constitution, to me, it's your fucking obligation.
You know what, Tate?
Shoot.
I seen an example of that happen. I was in court for child support. The guy ahead of me was in prison. They brought him out, or he got out, and then he was up there defending himself. My lawyer, 40 years, practicing for 40 years as a lawyer, was telling me he needs a lawyer. I said, in my head, I didn't tell him that guy is standing up for himself, and he's doing pretty good at doing it because when he was talking directly to the judge, and he told the judge how much that lady over there owed him, because she actually messed up something, and he found out about it, I guess, and brought it to their attention, and the lawyers on both sides were looking shocked. Even his lawyer was looking shocked, and he told his lawyer, "I need you to go in there and get what I need, or whatever." I don't know if that was his lawyer or some other person's lawyer, but he said, "I need you to go in there and I need you to give me my money. I need you to expunge this time y'all put me in prison, making me lose my job and all that good stuff." To make a long story short, that's what I heard from him when I was in there. So he defended himself.
Yeah, and it's so some people some people learn about this shit, or they, and I've witnessed it, and they learn just a little bit, and it's just enough to get you into trouble.
Mhm.
You really got to research this and do your due diligence, especially based upon whatever you happen to be going through at the time. You want to know everything about it that you could find in the time allotted. Um, and so, people that don't want to do their due diligence, that just want to look at YouTube and then, okay, find out where they could go find somebody's document or find a template and just change the name on the shit. They have no idea about what's going on. They're just filing paperwork. And so when they go to court and they have to speak, they're run smooth the fuck over. All right. Even at that point, I still respect them because they are standing up for their rights. They're standing up for what's right and true. Now, if, standing up for it and just, being cannon fodder, you're nothing more than a fucking bullet catcher. I think that's dumb, but at least you're making a stand and you're attempting to stand on your square. But knowledge is power. And if you know what's going on and you can apply it, and you can find what's written down, you'll run over them every fucking time. Now nothing works 100% of the time. All right, it don't. They'll railroad you, they'll run over you and shit. But when they do that, the shit still goes away and disappears. Because if you've got anything like that on the record, all you got to do is appeal to a higher court. That shit's still gonna disappear. Even if you lose, like just for instance, say a traffic court, even if they railroad you and they run over you, and you've done your due diligence and you have done your administrative process and you have proven beyond a doubt all this shit, and they haven't responded to you, haven't done nothing, and then you get them on the record in violation of their oath of office, in violation of their duties, in violation of their obligations, denying you rights and evidence, denying you provisions within the Constitution, all that shit. They may do all that shit for the benefit of not the court, but the jury, because you're not going to have a real jury under maritime admiralty jurisdiction. It's going to be called a jury petite. All right, it'd be 6 people. But and so typically that's where they're going to railroad you in, and the judge is going to give instructions to the jury at the end of it. It'll be long-winded and fucking it'll be all full of bullshit, and it'll be a bureaucratic answer. But it all boils down to any evidence that the defendant put out there, any of the testimony the defendant gave, you cannot consider that when you make your decision. And then they'll make their decision, and then I'll throw it out there, and you don't pay a motherfucking thing, but it all goes away. Because you will have already told them, hey, I'm aware that you've created unauthorized bonds in the name of my private property under common law copyright, which is known to the state of Texas. And then, then when you appeal it, well, you never get an appeal. Well, why not? Because they flushed that shit down the fucking toilet, tore it up, and threw it away, and hope that you don't come back after them. When shit like that happens to me, I just let it be. Okay, because, and there's been lots of times where I didn't want to, and I developed an entire case, and I got all the proper tax paperwork, and I was going to go take it to her ass, and I was going to turn her into the IRS for tax evasion and tax fraud. Fucking, I had the form 3949 for identity theft. It was all squared away. But I didn't do it because that would be vengeance, right? I mean, yeah, sure. I could have owned the roof she lived under, and all the kids and all the toys her kids and grandkids played with. And I could have dipped right into her fucking judge's slush fund, otherwise known as the 801k offshore fucking retirement account. I could have had all that, but that would be a spirit of vengeance, and that's something I shouldn't be involved in. I didn't start this process to be vengeful. I didn't do it out of a sense of fucking greed. I did it to be free. And I want other people to be aware of these. There's various processes, and there's way more than one way to, or way more than one way to skin a cat. There's a lot of different ways to go about obtaining the same thing, but freedom is very important to me. Economic freedom, financial freedom, freedom from fucking bullshit. Just to be left alone, to go follow your pursuits, as long as they don't interfere with anybody else's rights, any other constitutional rights, or hurt anybody else. That's where I want to be. Leave me the fuck alone and let me do my thing. That's it. And don't get, when you start this in fact, and you knuckle down on it, you're gonna be tested immediately. That's just the way the universe works. You're gonna be tested on it almost immediately, and you got to stand on your square. You got to be strong, and you got to know who you are. And
That's very true. I had to when I was dealing with IRS. They said a guy that I had to go to because my CPA was going to surgery. So she said, "Then send you to somebody I know." I'll go to this guy, and the first thing he tell me is, "All those statements you got in the mail, I need all that." When I got it to him, he said, "You see all these statements? It's like a book." He put them in order for me, and he was flipping through them like he was reading real fast. And he told me, "Do you believe you're right?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, then that's all you need is to know that you are right." And I said, "Okay." So we followed up. Everything went through, no problem.
there you go. And see Reggie's scary old ass, and also B Dub. Look, B Dub, which he ain't on here, is a shame because I think that he is or he seems to be one of the most uh, learned intellectuals I've run into in a long time. Um, and plus he clowns Reggie a little bit, and I find that very, very funny to me. Um, so, but you know, he's shaky. He's saying, "Look, I know people did, and they went to jail and all this. Look, here's the deal. A lot of people have gotten in trouble over this over the years. All right, that's a fact. But to me, they didn't understand principles of law. They didn't understand separation of power. They did not understand definitions. Um, they did not understand public and private, and they were probably shaky. Uh, you've been to prison, what known people in prison, then you know what I'm talking about when I say the motherfuckers was probably shaky, and they got fucking run over. Um, but that's what happens when you don't arm yourself or armor yourself with the knowledge. The first thing you do with the knowledge is you create your armor, you build your shield out of that knowledge. As you continue on, you can start utilize that knowledge in a in effectively to uh, as an attack, but not you don't attack uh, you don't attack your public officials and stuff like that just because. I mean, everybody is due a remedy when they do something wrong, um, but you know, always maintain your honor and live right, and things will go right, um, even if it's not right off the bat. I'm telling you, you will always be tested on this shit. I was tested on this shit almost immediately as soon as I started putting this into practice. I put it into practice, and freaking, it was like within 1 month. Hey, Dolly, what's Dolly doing? Sorry, my puppy dog coming here. Okay, Dolly, go downstairs. Go on, go. Go see mom's. That's a good girl. Go downstairs. Anyways, so it was within a month or two of that, and of me putting it into practice, and I was fucking tased on the side of the road.
Damn.
For half hour, 45 minutes by a couple bullshit ass fucking cops. I won't go all into that because I ain't really decided what I'm gonna do about that yet. I've got lasting injuries from that shit, but whatever. And then after that, I got a notice. I got arrested for a bench warrant that was put out for something that wasn't true. But I stood on my square. I stood on my square and I did what I knew was right. But I had read it and it was in their shit. It wasn't in my shit. Of course, you know, when I'm sitting there telling them, hey, this is what's going to happen, they're going to sit there and lie. They're going to lie their motherfucking ass off. Either they're lying or they're completely ignorant. Either way, them motherfucking low-level employees,
low vibrations.
Are not, yeah, they're not fit to perform those duties. And sure enough, 72 hours rolls around. If you know, you know. That's it. And then I got a summons to court for an arraignment, and I go there and I told them what I told them. I'd already started my administrative process. I performed a call for judicial review, knowing damn good and well they wasn't going to respond because they never fucking do. Go back to next time, I'm called into the judge's chamber. We go into colloquy. Now, I knew some things, but I did not know everything. So, am I going to stand there? And am I going to be shaky? And am I going to look at the ground? Or am I going to look at the judge and dare him to fucking say something? Dare him to tell me a fucking lie. I didn't know everything about what I was talking about. All right? But I knew enough that if I'm going to say it, I'd better fucking believe it. I knew who I was. I knew I was a fucking living man with a soul. I knew I was not a United States citizen. I'd already repudiated my fucking citizenship and that I was an American national. And that I had fucking placed things into common law copyright and trust. So I stood on my square. I knew I had no contracts with standing with the state of Texas. I knew that. What else did I need to know? If they had started asking more intricate questions, I may have folded. I may, or I may have tried to make up something that was fucking bullshit, and then they would have known it was bullshit and they would have run over me. It didn't go that far, thank goodness. But personally, I think it was because I was bold enough to stand there and look them motherfuckers in the eye and dare them to tell me I was wrong. They couldn't do it. They got real interested in what their shoes were doing. I shagged ass out of there, and it's 15, 20 minutes from the courthouse to my gate. I was getting a phone call before I got there saying, we're going to dismiss this shit. Thanks. So anyways, going back to your trust. The trust is very important. All right. You need to protect the assets of the all capitalized name or all the transmitting utility. When we talk about, hey Trey, what's happening? Glad to see you in the chat. Salute.
Hey, Tig, I just thought about this. When you have your assets or whatever in a trust, at that time, I mean down the road, you want to say sell your house. How do you move within the trust?
Depending on the trust, there's various ways to go about it. Okay. But the trustee or the grantor, all right, the grantor has the ability to change the trust or move things out of trust because the grantor created the trust. So in law, in which one creates, one controls. So you create the trust, you can dissolve the trust. You can move the trust into another trust. You can do whatever. You can sell the entire trust. You can lease the entire trust. Um, and then the trustee has to do what's best for the beneficiary. So if what's best for the beneficiary, so say the grantor, right?
Right.
Then the trustee would have to perform on behalf of the beneficiary if the grantor deems that that is in the best interest of the beneficiary. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Um, and so you simply move it out of trust and you amend the trust after selling a piece of property or whatever it is, however the change is made within the trust. You simply amend the trust, get it notarized, signed and notarized, and then re-recorded. Um, and it's really no big deal. Uh, Bolas, pelulas. Hola, buenos días, ¿qué tal? Um, so, with that being said, when you look at the wealthiest motherfuckers, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, et cetera, what did Mayor Amschel Rothschild say that he's so famous for saying? You know, own nothing and control everything. Right? So he owns nothing. The trust owns everything, and it is all residing within trust. Um, so he doesn't own it, but he does control it. And if he can control it, then he's able to reap the benefits, reap the interest. You know, he holds as a third party of interest within the trust. So it can all be used to his benefit and control every part of it without actually owning it legally. And that's really where you want to be. These fucking wealthy motherfuckers will say shit and fucking put it all out there, and people will think, oh, that's some kind of philosophy. They're giving you the motherfucking answer. They're telling you what to do. Own nothing, control everything. In other words, say a secure party creditorship. If you're the creditor and you're the surety, then you're in fucking complete control of the debt. If you're the debtor, you don't want to. I mean, there's times to come in as the debtor. The debtor has rights as well, but generally you want to come in as a creditor or the surety. When you're coming into a commercial type dichotomy. And so that way you have more control over the property in question, or the some certain in question, or if it's all under a supposed debt, you come in as surety so that you have control over how that debt is discharged. So there's a lot of different things that can be very intricate concerning these processes. And like I said, I don't know everything about all of them. I know some things about all of them, but I focus a lot on legal definitions because I'm building my armor. I'm building my fortress, and I'm telling y'all how I'm going about laying the stone, right? And so anyhow, it seems like a pretty daunting task because nobody in the world likes to do fucking paperwork. not even bureaucrats. That's why they have fucking assistants.
Right.
So uh, it seems like a very daunting task, but let me tell you something. If you don't get started, then you never will. So, and once you get started, you realize it's not that hard. It's not, it doesn't take up that much time. Um, so I say, I say, hey, get started. If you want to learn how to get started, I can tell you, and after going through these processes, I think that I have found a way um, to condense it a little bit. Um, like I said, there's a lot of different processes out there. There's a lot of different things to do, but you do have to put people on notice. Uh, there is paperwork you're going to need to fill out, but you're creating it. All right. Um, you have the power. The power is inherent in the people. That's in the Constitution. That's in the Declaration of Independence, the Treaty of Ghent. Americans are kings without a kingdom. Uh, and so, if you're going to do it, then let's fucking do it. Be about it, not just fucking talk about it. That's what disappoints me with B-Dub. He don't want to get started on this process. He just wants to talk about the conspiracies, and he knows a lot about it. He knows how they're fucking lying. He knows the lies they're telling. He knows where they've been and what they've done, and how they're fucking throwing shade and defrauding the American people. But he's too shaky to get started. And to me, if you're going to learn all that shit about it and you're going to know all about it and you're going to talk about it, but you ain't going to do anything about it, then all you're doing is bitching.
Maybe you got to tell him he's scared.
Exactly. Hey, Reggie, I don't know where the fuck you're at. I hope you're listening right now. Fucking send a fucking private message to B-Dub and tell him he's fucking scared. But he tells us he's scared all the time. But
Hey, Tex, check this out. There's a saying: if you want to hide something from some black folks, just put it in a book.
I've heard the
It
same
seems
thing,
like,
but I thought, but it was told to me, if you want to hide something from everyone, just put it in a book.
that's now saying that it seems like it's been hidden from everybody.
Exactly. It has been, and it's been constructed that way on purpose, through fraud and obfuscation and usufruct and usufruct. There is that's going to be everybody who's listening or who watches this. That's their homework, to look up the definition of usufruct. And all I'm going to tell you is, if I'm just going to give the layman's definition, it'll be in my best Asian accent, because usufruct, okay, fucking look that shit up in Black's Law Dictionary. Usufruct, USUFRUCT.
Okay.
Because that's what they're involved in. Don't get me wrong. I see nothing wrong with the system as it stands. What's wrong with it is that there has not been full disclosure.
Right.
If there's no full disclosure, it seems to me like if there was any disclosure to it, fucking 90% of people would opt out. And if they opt out, if the people were to opt out, then the house of cards would start to fucking smolder and burn. And well, what's gonna happen then? Fucking none of my business. Fucking, I'm gonna tend my garden.
How did this come about, though? How did they hide it? They just keep putting layers of language.
Yes, through intentionally utilizing false and misleading language. Legal definitions are not at all. I mean, if you're to read a piece of paper, a legal document, all right, Any legal document. Hell, a fucking job application is a legal document. If you're to read that and then look up every single word in a legal definition, every single word's legal definition, you would realize that fucking you'd be appalled. You would be appalled. Um, the courts use it most, um, utilizing different doctrines, like the doctrine of capitis minutia maxima, utilizing your all capitalized name to uh, strip you of all your rights, to include basic human rights. The all capitalized name is also used for corporations or dead entities, right? Corporation, corpus means a body, typically referring to a dead body, while Asian in Latin means movement or animation. So you've got an animated dead body. All capitalization also is used to signify a vessel or a boat, right? A vessel. What does a vessel do? What does a vessel do? A vessel carries something within it from one place to another. It's and of course the courts or attorneys are going to lie to you, and every attorney will lie to you, even if you pay them good money to represent you. They are going to fucking lie their ass off to you. They know what the fuck that means. They know that the court is operating under fucking doctrine of capitis minutia maxima. They know that they're operating under the presumption that you are a corporate entity. They know that that they're operating under utilizing the all capitalized name to consider you a vessel that's only there to move wealth from the private into the public sector. Because the public sector does not create anything. All they do is offer benefits, privileges, and services. And so,
I got a question right there.
Sure, go ahead.
If you have an LLC and you're the owner and you're offering services, basically training, like a martial arts instructor,
Mm-hmm.
is that? Can you explain that part? As far, I mean, in reference to what you just said, as corporate, is
Corporation.
it the corp? Is it the corpse? Yeah, the corporation.
Well, so and LLC, there's private business and there's public business, right? And
Okay.
so these courts and these government entities, whether it be a state of, district of, county of, city of entities, it's all corporate. It's all fucking, because it's all commerce. They're all incorporated and they're all subchartered of the United States Inc. Okay. Uh, and so they're privately owned corporations operating in the public. So, say a karate instructor offering services as through an LLC, I mean, that's okay. Those are services that are actually deemed useful to somebody. But and to some people, the police are necessary, or garbage pickup is necessary, or ambulatory services are necessary. Okay, so if they're necessary to you in your situation, okay, but you want to have minimum government contacts, uh, and so you've got to keep them at arm's length. Some of the stuff you have to. You're suckered into having to have, depending on what your situation, your living situation is, or whatever. Uh, but you want to keep it bare minimum, because the courts will always consider you a resident if they can tie you to any of these government contacts. And well, let's look at that. Let's look at that verbiage. We got to break it down. You got res, ident. All right. An ident is synonymous with indentured. All right. Or beholden to. Um, and so res, in the legal definition of res, is a thing. The same with rem. Rem is also a thing. Uh, so a resident is a thing enslaved, or a thing indentured, or a thing beholden to whoever is providing the residence. And government claims to provide the residence because we haven't moved our property, our land, or lands out of the public and into the private through a allodial title. And so there's the presumption of possession, right? And so the government claim is presuming that that all your property, you've abandoned all your property, and so they possess it. That's just the presumption, and unless the presumption is rebutted, it stands as fact. So and they call your property a residence. All right, it's commercial. Your residence is tied to an address. All right, and the address has a mailbox. The mail, through the mail, is how people could involve themselves in commerce, because letters sent back and forth is utilization of an instrumentality of commerce. And so a residence is the geographical area that a thing that is enslaved occupies. So there's presumptions and there's assumptions, and if you'd like to see how I sign my name to any kind of court documents or any kind of documents that I file with the court, it's fucking, it's longer than a horse drink. It's non-resident, non-domestic, non-assumption, non-citizen, etc., etc., etc. UCC 1308, without prejudice, without recourse, authorized representative, and it goes on. But because I know that these are presumptions and assumptions and color of law that they're operating under, and I have to rebut them. And so I just go out of my way to let them know, okay, these are all the things that I know, not just a portion of it. I'm throwing it all out there. You want to play ball? Well, let's fucking get after it. And so either they're going to fucking throw in the towel or they're going to double down. And doubling down isn't going to go good either, especially if we have to go to an appellate court, because you wanted to double down in order to get to obtain a fucking judgment that is inherently void anyways. Okay, fucking, we'll do that then. I'm still not going to give you any fucking money, and you're going to tear it up and throw it in the trash, and I'm never going to hear about it again. But okay, let's just go on ahead and continue to perpetrate the fraud to the rest of the community, so that you maintain your little bullshit ass fucking administrative agency position while you're masquerading as a fucking judge, because I know what's going on, and they know that I know what's going on. So they're going to fucking get shit of that shit pretty fucking quick. But I'm not saying that it'll always go that way for me, but it always has. Either they throw in the towel or they fucking double down and railroad me, and then just, it's a fucking kangaroo court all the way from beginning to end. All of my paperwork has been filed, everything has been notarized, and everything has been recorded with the fucking state. And so, and not only that, but when I send them fucking documents, I will put in there the state attorney general, the state secretary of state, the secretary of state of the United States, and the attorney general of the United States as witnesses, and send it all to them. Send it to them too as witnesses. And somebody will sign for it, and will they ever see it or not? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that they're all able to be fucking subpoenaed now. Do they really want to play with me and me have to fucking subpoena the Attorney General for the United States to show up down there to fucking to say, yep, he wrote that fucking affidavit. He sure did, because I saw it. Do they? I mean, you know, do they really want to fucking play with me like that? Because I'll play. They ain't gonna like the fucking outcome. Another thing is with this court shit, fucking, you got to do your homework. You got to do your homework on these motherfuckers. Know thine enemy, right? Mm-hmm. That's in the Bible. Sun Tzu put that in The Art of War. The 5 Rings, the 48 Laws of Power. I mean, there's all of these publications that have been put out there. Know thine enemy, and if they all say the same thing, there's got to be something to it. So I'll do a public records request on these motherfuckers. Like this last son of a bitch, this jackass. I already had him sweating, fucking letting him know that I knew he was a fucking surety, and the only thing he's doing, the only reason he's talking to me right now is he's out on bond because I didn't consent to shit. But he accepted the fucking charges. He's the one that's out on bond, not me. I ain't bonded out of shit. I don't need to fucking go to court. But you got them fucking charges. That means you are responsible for fucking payment of those charges or discharge of them. What you gonna do? You gonna discharge them, or you gonna double down and you gonna try to drag me into court?
Who is that? The cop?
No, that's the fucking prosecuting attorney.
Oh.
So I already had him fucking sweating and fucking putting his comb over back over the top of his head. When we get to fucking court, I've already done my research on him now. Fucking 2 times he'd been caught doing the same thing. Parked in his car while it was running on the wrong side of the fucking highway, facing oncoming traffic, passed out drunk in his fucking car. He got 2 DWIs. And so I tell him, fucking, you know, before we go into court, hey, bud, you know, I hope that this judicial decision right here doesn't drive you back to drinking, because, you know, you only got one more strike, and then you're going to be in there with the same motherfuckers you helped put away. And then leave. Don't say a motherfucking thing else.
Right.
That motherfucker was
upside your head.
Yo, that's it. So you got to do your fucking your due diligence. You've got to fucking do your research. Yo, this going on your same kind where you can get by there. You find out where they fucking live and you drive by there. And you talk to the judge. Hey, how's everything going this morning, Judge? You know, how's everything going at the house? You know, I know you got that little dog out there. You ought to keep him on a leash so he don't get that close to the street. He might get run over. Mm-hmm. And so, what? It's all a matter of public record, and you can find the shit out on anybody. Whether you go to the courthouse and you look it up there, or you do your records request. I think it might cost $1 or $5, depending on where you're at, on the internet. Either way, you can get their bonds. All right. All these motherfuckers got to be bonded. They've got, or insured, right? Or insured and bonded, I guess is how it would be. You know, when they first accuse you of something and you start your administrative process, one of the first things you're going to ask for in discovery and disclosure is all this motherfucker's bonds, all of y'all's bonds, indemnity and otherwise. They have to provide them to you. Oh, also your written oaths of office, your bonds, indemnity and otherwise, your bar card numbers. Because all of those things right there, if they don't perform, you can lien them. You can lien every one of those things, because every one of those things are security. Do what now?
You can ask for it, and if they don't give it to you, then you can put a lien on them?
No, when you ask for them, they have to provide them to you.
Okay.
Okay, and when you have those things, you can lien those things. Now, they're not going to be real upfront and want to provide that shit to you, but that's okay. When you get into open court on the record, you request them again.
Okay.
It's my understanding that y'all's policy as a public servant. Are you not a public servant? Okay. Are you not a servant of the court? Okay. Fantastic.
So basically, you
You're
establish a position like this is who I am, and I know what I'm talking about, and I see you and who you are.
exactly, exactly.
Okay.
And then you know where to go, which under uh, Code of Civil Procedures, Code of Criminal Procedures, um, uh, under the Penal Code, or wherever it's found,
Mm.
wherever in your state or your or wherever, because things are written in a different manner depending on where you're at. In Louisiana, they have parishes, you know, their parish shit or whatever. But
Right.
go through the state code. You can look it up on the internet. Fucking Louisiana, whatever, Georgia State Code, uh, uh, responsible party for furnishing bar association numbers or oaths of office or bonds upon request. And it'll take you, it'll go to Cornell Law and it'll tell you right where it is. So then you can do that, you know, pursuant to Texas Rules of Criminal Procedure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that you need to provide me with that. Um, it's your duty and your obligation, right? Frida, fiduciary Frida, right? Uh, because she ain't no fucking judge. If they don't provide it to you, they're not a fucking judge.
Okay.
Uh, very seldom have I ever met done this with a judge who had their fucking written oath. All right. Which means
Right.
they're not a judge. They're fucking administrative agent administering the fucking trust on behalf of the bankrupt organization known as the state, or the state estate, which just so happens to be a subchartered corporation having given up their sovereignty in order to incorporate under the United States Incorporated.
You're saying that that's the assumption if they don't provide the paperwork.
That's
If
not an
if
assumption. That's the fact. Fucking pursuant to this, this, and this, you have to do it.
yeah.
If you're
Right.
not going to do it, well, then fucking recuse yourself. Let's get somebody in here who's going to do it.
Okay. Gotcha.
As a matter of fact, judge, administrative fucking judge, how about you direct the prosecution to please provide me with all of their updated FARA paperwork so I may inspect it for authenticity? What's FARA? Foreign Agents Registration Act. They've taken a motherfucking oath to the Bar Association. The Bar Association, the British Accredited Regency, which is a subchartered corporation of the Crown Incorporated. That's a foreign agency. So they're operating, they've taken an oath to them, so they're operating on behalf of the Bar Association. So they are inherently foreign agents.
Okay. Those were the British and so on, right? Uh, America got its independence. Um, so basically, what does that mean when you're supposed to be independent from queen and king over there?
So this is how England was able to keep a hold of the United States while conceding a war to them, right?
Right.
They kept everything commercial, right? They said, okay, well, we'll concede you win the war, you get your independence, but we keep all of these ports, all right, all these ports of entry, they belong to us. If you will agree to that, and also, you know, England funded both sides of the war. They funded the American Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Wages.
America owes a debt to England, to the same people that they were just fighting. And so the civil flag of peace, let me show you something.
While you looking for that, I tried to get a house in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I saw the paper. I saw the paperwork, and it showed that the previous owners were I think something over in England, Queen Elizabeth. I think her name was probably on it from the last time I can remember. But after I found that out, I, I later on found out that she owned six six point something million. I think it's 6 point something million acres around the world.
Yeah. So, and really owns more than that. So this is real quick. This is the American civil flag of peace. Nobody even knows that that exists. However, it did fly for 3 years over the United States
Is it one of the
until
Six Flags?
no, they don't even act
Okay.
like it exists. Nobody even. But you can look up, just Google American civil flag of peace, and it's 50 blue stars on a white background with 13 vertical stripes. The American
Sure.
wartime flag is the 50 white stars on a blue background with the 13 horizontal stripes.
Hmm.
So where do you go where they're flying the fucking American wartime flag? Court. And if you understand flag law, then you know that that the flag is going to signify what operation is being performed.
Okay.
The court's at
Does
war with their people.
does that bird on the top of the flag at the top of the pole mean anything with that?
There are various things. Okay, so an eagle, with the wings open, that's an eagle. Eagle with the wings down, that's a fucking phoenix. All right, and you get into
Gotcha.
fucking Illuminati. There's a whole lot of other fucking shit that goes along with it. But yeah, the truck on top of it signifies various different things. When you go into court, you'll notice that there's gold fringe around the flag. The gold
Yes.
fringe that comes from back from pirate law. All right, uh, uh, you can seize a flag and utilize it like it's your own, as long as you have made some attempt at variation of it. So the gold fringe is sewed around the outside of it, and it's used as if it's their own. Um, so the American wartime flag has been seized by the corporate United States, and the gold fringe around it signifies that it is at war in commerce against its people. That's what the courts are for. The courts are simply there to administrate the trust on behalf of the United States, on behalf of the state of Texas, the county of Kendall, the county of Glasscock, the county of whatever, fucking Jim Hogg, uh, uh, in a wartime state against the
Yeah.
people to administrate the trust and relieve them of their wealth for violating so-called ordinances and codes that are not law, but are corporate bylaw, because they have agreed that they're citizens and they have contracted to us through the fucking driver's license.
Hmm.
And so it's all done through fraud because there's no full open and honest disclosure. All right, I see nothing wrong with this system as long as there's open and honest disclosure, as long as it's written in plain language. Uh, uh, that way everybody understands. But it's not. That's why fraud exists. But the fact of the matter is, everybody would opt out if they knew what was going on. If they knew that the fucking that the minuscule pecuniary benefits, services, and privileges that they obtained amounted to fucking jack shit compared to if they were fucking completely free financially, economically, and physically to do what they wanted, and as long as they didn't interfere with the rights of others, everybody would fucking opt out. Nobody would be experiencing financial hardship. Nobody would be economically at the bottom. You know, I mean, there would be people that are higher than others, naturally, depending on how much effort they're willing to put forth. Because what you get out of something is a direct reflection of what you put in. But you know, and some people would opt in to remain citizens because
Okay.
they require those services. Maybe somebody's got a handicapped kid or a vegetable for a kid or something, you know, and they need those services because they can't afford to pay for it themselves, or they're not willing to put in the effort so that they can pay for it themselves. Okay, cool. Be a citizen. Accept your fucking benefits and privileges. You know, that's
Okay.
fine. I don't need any of them. I don't want any of them. There is nothing that the government can fucking offer me that I can't do for myself. Nothing.
Hey, Tex, when some kind of crime is committed, you want to report it, you know what they tell you to call the fire department. Why is that?
Do what?
If it's a
A
fraud,
crime?
a crime dealing with fraud, you have to call
They have you
the
called
fire
the.
department. Yeah,
I've never fucking heard of that shit, but that's something I'm gonna look into.
yeah.
Um, that's interesting. Um, that's interesting. That's really
Maybe.
interesting.
Have you looked it up? Try looking it up. It might say it like that. You might see it if you look it
Okay,
up.
and this is in Texas or what?
Yep. I I I never
What
heard of
county
it
was this
anywhere else.
in?
Dallas.
Dallas. Is that's not Tarrant County? That what county is
No,
that?
Dallas County.
Dallas County.
It's like they saying that department is who's handling the fraud cases or whatever.
Let's see. Hmm. Dallas police. Okay. I can't find anything like that. I'm not saying that that's not true because I would believe 100% that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh,
I'll look
Simply
it up.
because so a case against fraud uh, would be a civil case under the jurisdiction of common law, and fucking cops are not operating in the jurisdiction of common law. They're operating under maritime admiralty jurisdiction. They're still all all the crimes are commercial. Okay, so they're still in a the crimes are still civil in nature. They're not criminal in nature because all crimes are considered to be civil in nature. I mean, it's written down in their shit,
Mm.
and so it baffles me as to why when you ask them in court if the charges, if the accusations against me or the actions brought against the defendant today, are they criminal or civil in nature? And they say criminal. Okay. Let the record reflect that the honorable judge has stated that the nature of these actions today are criminal in nature. Okay, so the Constitution for the United States of America under Article 3 allows for 2 criminal jurisdictions. The first is that of common law. The second, though it does address certain criminal aspects of the law, is predicated upon commercial acceptance and obligation of contracts under a highly colorable maritime admiralty jurisdiction. Which jurisdiction are we operating under? So all of a sudden they know that it can't be fucking criminal, because even though under maritime admiralty, all right, it's commercial. So everything is civil. Every crime is commercial in nature, so it is civil in nature. All right. You look at any one of their websites, and you'll go under FAQs or whatever. What should I know before I come to court? It'll say rules of civil procedure. The motherfucking courts are incompetent to rule on fucking rules to make any fucking rulings under the rules of criminal procedure. And
So
they
you
fucking
saying
want to
that-
act like they're really some goddamn body.
Were you saying
Go
that?
ahead.
I'm thinking back when some things were going on between my youngest daughter, my older daughter's mother, and she kidnapped the kids from me and all that stuff when I was in the gym. And the thing about it was, I think the cops were saying I was in Capel at the time, so they say they're gonna handle that in Dallas, and then it was some other stuff going on, but then they was trying to tell me that that's a civil matter. You got to handle it like that or something like that. And I'm thinking about what you're just saying now.
Yeah, and so or they'll say, "Oh, that's common law. We don't enforce common law." You don't enforce common law, okay? But you enforce what? If common law is the de jure fucking factual, real and natural law of the land, then what do you fucking enforce? It? They don't know. What we enforce statutes and codes. Okay, so fucking you're enforcing SMU. Shit made up. Because there's no motherfucking enactment clause. It's not a fucking law because it's not constitutional. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
They want to tell you that you don't know what you're talking about because they know the law better than you. Hold on, wait a minute. So I've been studying this shit day in and day out for no less than 15 minutes a day for 10 motherfucking years. You had 800 hours in an academy, and most of that was goddamn fucking trying to get your fat ass in shape to pass a PT test. And you're going to tell me you know what the fucking law is because the goddamn fucking district attorney gave you a fucking abridged version of the book underneath your seat that you've never fucking opened. She gave you the abridged version in the form of a pamphlet. And fucking now you know the law better than me? Get off your fucking bullshit. That shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
But fucking they hire people fucking based upon their fucking ignorance of the fucking law, which blows my mind. That's how you know it's all done under fucking fraud. Because even though I understand the principles behind the internal combustion engine, I seriously doubt if I would be considered competent or qualified to design and build the next airship to go to fucking Mars for NASA. But that's what they're fucking doing. These motherfuckers know, okay, the district attorney tells us that this is the law, so this is the law. And they go and they fucking start operating under assumption, presumption, and color of law. And let me tell you something. When they're operating under assumption and presumption, that's okay. But if you're operating under assumption, presumption, and color of law, now all of a sudden you done got yourself in a motherfucking pickle. And by virtue of Title 18 and Title 28, USC, United States Code, 3002, 4822, 1503, 1583, they are subject to a non-adjudicated $200,000 penalty. I didn't make it up. I didn't write it down. I just read it.
Mm.
But so many people are kept ignorant. Where's another place that you see that fucking wartime flag flown? Public school.
Really?
There's a war against fucking education. Hell yeah. Fucking you stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance to it every day.
Mm.
We just don't know what it is because we've never studied flag law. That's something that they conveniently left out in social studies.
Right. Even the foreign teachers don't teach it.
Hell no. And in reality, the United States is foreign to America. America is foreign to the United States. And that's how, if you are a state national and thereby abide by the de jure common law as a national of your state and of the United States of America, then you are foreign to the United States and therefore considered an ambassador or foreign dignitary. And you can claim claim all rights and interests thereof.
You know what? When you when a person tell a lie, they got to keep it going. They got to keep lying, right? Is that when they okay the fraud, they got to keep they got to stay fraudulent, right?
That's right. They got to stay fraudulent. Why do you think there's revisions to the shit every fucking year?
Mm.
It's because somebody found out about it, used it against them, or too many people found out about it and used it against them, or too many people found out about it and used it against them, and they're like me, and they're running their fucking head about this bullshit, and so they got to put in a revision now.
Another layer.
It states the same fucking thing. It has simply, the language has been revised, and so, but the remedy remains.
Okay.
If they revise a fucking statute, and let me tell you what statute is. Statute is short for statutory merchant. That's a law of commerce. Blended with maritime admiralty and equity. That's how they fucking come up with the fucking bullshit ass commercial court system they have today. That was done in 1938. Pacific Union Railroad v. I don't remember. Anyways. So,
but what they got to do with railroads? Oh, excuse me. Go. Never mind.
So that was the case, and it was before the Supreme Court, and the common law courts and the maritime admiralty courts have been feuding with each other for years, way long time before we ever got here, before America was a forethought. All right, and sometimes the common law courts will be in charge, and sometimes the maritime admiralty courts will be in charge. It seems to swap up about every 150 years or so. And so, anyways, in 1938, you got a bunch of fucking greedy, fucking corrupt judges into the fucking into the Supreme Court. And realize that, okay, we can make a ruling, and based upon that ruling, it will completely swap this over from common law into a maritime admiralty jurisdiction, a commercial jurisdiction, where at that point in time, since it's commercial, we can start writing bonds. We can start creating bonds. And how can they do that? If you look up the legal definition of the word bank, it says see court, see post office. If you look up the legal definition of court, it says see bank, see post office. And if you look up the legal definition of post office, it says see bank, see court. Because a bank is a post office, is a court. And another thing, the judge sits on the bench. In Latin, the Latin word for bench is bank, B-A-N-C. So, I mean, these are just little snippets of maybe useful information. If it's not useful, at least it's interesting. At least you can see how they've gone from here to there. Because the historical context of law and how we've gone from one place to another is useful if you want to study it. So anyhow, so they started using the courts as their banks in order to fucking create securities and unauthorized bonds in order to fund their fucking employee slush funds is what it is. And so that's another one of the things that you ask when you go into court. You ask the judge, you got an interest in this case? Oh no, I'm just third. I said, okay, all right. So
you asked the judge that?
Sir?
You saying you asked the judge that?
Yeah. I mean, because, are they going to deny me my First Amendment? Sometimes. If you say another word, I'm going to slap you with a contempt charge.
Gotcha.
Is that civil or criminal contempt? That's what I say. Is that going to be civil or criminal contempt? Because I got to know if it's going to be commercial or if it's going to be criminal in nature. Anyways, they sure as hell can't slap me with criminal contempt. Otherwise, they'd be in violation of their oath of office. They'd be in violation of their public oath that they took to the Constitution, because they'd be violating my First Amendment rights.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be in violation of my Fifth Amendment rights, Sixth Amendment rights, Seventh Amendment rights, denying me provisions within the Constitution, denying me rights and evidence, denying me my ability to speak, denying me due process. And so, anyways, they threaten that shit all the time. They will fucking threaten the dog shit out of you. You start talking up there, you start running your head too much, and you say some shit, like, okay, so who is a public servant over here? I just need to know who all's a public servant. Well, I'm a public servant. I am over here. Yep, I'm a public servant. Okay, fuck it. Well then, so I'm a free man. And when was the last time you ever heard of a free man answering the questions of servants? I'll ask the question. So then, all of a sudden, fucking now, the bailiff and all these other deputy flunkies are surrounding me. Your Honor, is there a reason why all these armed guards are surrounding me for asking questions? Can you answer that question? Back them the fuck up and paint their ass in a fucking corner. These motherfuckers will threaten you, lie to you, fucking do whatever. They're fucking crooks. They're scoundrels. You know?
Right.
Antonin Scalia said that shit before he died. He said fucking 98% of all judges and lawyers in this country are either incompetent, corrupt, or both.
Dang.
I go with both 98% of the time.
That's sad.
It is sad. It is sad. Now, okay, fucking it again. If there was full disclosure, if it was written in plain language, if it was not written in confusing language, if it was not written in language, okay, by virtue of fair business doctrine, it's got to be written in the same language. How come all these fucking court cases got shit in there like using the words nunc pro tunc or pro se or whatever the fuck? There's all these Latin words in there, and you don't know what they are. A contract has to be written in the same language, and they want you to sign that motherfucker? No, I'm not signing it. As a matter of fact, y'all are in fucking violation of fair business doctrine. This ain't written in the same language. I'm not going to sign it, and therefore everything on these pieces of paper, this is all a void contract. See y'all around. I mean, at some point, when you go into court, you got to be humble and you got to act like you're somewhat that you're somewhat dumb. All right. And so that you can ask the questions to paint the judge in the corner. That's the best way to do it. However, if they want to run on you and they want to fucking try to put contempt of court charges on you and shit for asking questions, If you know your shit, that's when you start clowning their motherfucking ass.
Gotcha.
That's when you start fucking letting them know without saying these words. I know this is all a fucking tax issue. We're in a fucking commercial, under a commercial court, an administrative court, attempting to administrate the fucking trust against the estate. All right, because y'all are fucking bankrupt and insolvent. But I can't accept all the charges for value and return them for value, utilizing my exemption as a pass-through so that all fines and fees can be taken care of. Or I'm going to require all the 1099s, the 1096s. I'm going to require all the proper tax paperwork. I'm going to need a complete audit trail. I'm going to need the original charging document. That way I can balance my ledgers, because we are in a bank and we're conducting banking business. And as I am a private banker, because a banker is anybody involved in banking business, and we're in a bank because a bank is any person, not a living man or woman, involved in banking business, then you better fucking hup too, so that I can balance my ledgers and assess the tax against your motherfucking ass for the interest that is due me, that is due and owing to me at the end of the year. Otherwise, you're involved in tax evasion and tax fraud. Of course, they can't collect a debt. All of these motherfuckers are subchartered entities of a bankrupt organization, which means they're bankrupt and insolvent as well. A bankrupt, insolvent entity cannot be a creditor. They are always the debtor. Anytime they try to collect a fine or a fee against you, fucking, are you a creditor or are you a debtor? Oh, really? Because fucking by virtue of UCC 9, what was that, 307H? The location of the debtor is located in Washington, D.C. Public Law 78-10, House Joint Resolution 192-193. United States always pays its debts. All debts, public and private, belong to the United States. The Federal Reserve notes are backed by the full faith and credit of the American people, which means the American people are the creditors. United States is a debtor. And if you're a subchartered corporation of the debtor, that means you too are a debtor, bankrupt and insolvent. You can't collect a debt from me. I'm the creditor. I'm the fucking sovereign, and you're the fucking debtor, and you're the fucking servants. So I'm going to stand right here, and I'm going to direct you on how you're going to perform. What can they say? I didn't choose for them to be a public servant. I simply chose to be a free man. They could have chose to be free men and women, but they didn't. They chose to be servants. So since they chose to be servants, and I understand, I know who I am. I'm a free man. I'm the sovereign. I'm the fucking creditor. I'm the secured party. You're going to do what I tell you. And you're going to answer my questions. And then you're going to perform as I direct you. They don't like it, but what can they do? They can fucking perform as I direct them. That's what they can do. You still with us, Picasso? Picasso done fucking fell off the map. Anyways, I'm going to keep cooking for about another 5 or 10 minutes, then I'm going to jump off here. Picasso, don't jump back on. Hey, there you are.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I just put it on mute because I was in the terminal running around, dropping, hooking, and all that. But I can hear
right
you.
On. Mm-hmm. Good deal. Anyways, you got to know who you are. If you're a free man, and when you go in here and you're using this shit, you fucking better believe it with all your heart. You cannot be in any kind of legal or lawful trouble if to the best of your knowledge and belief, you didn't do anything wrong. Even if they fucking trip you up on some shit, if you've studied it and you know it to be right, there should be no reason that they trip you up on some shit. But even it happens to everybody. All right. You can be tripped up on some fucking legalities or some technicalities. It happens.
I got an example. You want to hear it?
Shoot.
Um, this apartment that I was trying to get my youngest daughter mother and my youngest daughter to go stay in, and I was going to help her make the payments. Um, when I put down the, those little fees that to hold the application and all that stuff.
Right.
Okay, it was $40 or 45 and $75 to hold it or whatever that was. But
Mm-hmm.
that 75 you get it back if they deny you a place there. So they denied me. I was on the road. I'm trying to call them and figure out what the denying about. And eventually I made my way up there to them, and then I had went to the court and filed a complaint or whatever, which cost me. So I added all these little fees up that they owed me back, and then I
Mm-hmm.
kind of multiplied it by three.
Yeah.
And then I said I need my money. I told them in court that I needed that money, but but let me go back. Uh, they said the reason why they denied me was because uh, they claimed that I was a sex offender, right? So I said, where in your computer says that I'm a sex offender? So they kept denying to show me, but then one lady turned around and showed me, and she said, right here. And I said, lady, that picture of that guy, that ain't me. So why would you do that to me? I need my money. They start talking some old crap, and then we ended up going to court over it. So next thing you know, I'm in the court. I walk in the courtroom. I got the shirt that sits outside your pants. First
Mm-hmm.
thing the judge do is step out of my court and put your shirt back in your pants, and then come back in here and respect the court or whatever. And I did it, and I had all my background papers on my background in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to me going in the building, I called my lawyer that was working with me on the child support stuff. He said, "You shouldn't even need a lawyer to go in there." Uh, at the time, he said that, right? So, and then I went to another lawyer out there in what's that town past Plano? No, Stacy. No. What's that place called out there? I keep forgetting. But, um, out past Plano.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I don't know which way you're talking about, but you got Arlington, you got
Oh,
Plano, you got
go north. Uh,
north of
Past.
Plano.
Yeah.
It's not Plainview. It's Plano between Dallas and Fort Worth. Is it Denton up there, or is that not
Oh
Denton?
no. Don't go way out past. Just go past. Don't go past Sherman and nothing like that. Or
Oh,
Denton. Yeah. Come back. Oh, that's over there on 35 Denton. But over here on 75. Did I say 75?
no.
On 70. Okay,
I
75
don't know.
going north.
But it don't
That
matter.
area. Okay.
One of them towns up there.
Okay, yeah. So that lawyer in that area told me, he showed me, he said, "You're not a white guy that lived in Pennsylvania, and so that ain't you." I said, "Okay." I just looked at my background. I looked at the background stuff, brought it in court with me, and the judge asked what was going on, and he looked at me, and I said, "Look here, they accused me of being a sex offender. I brought my background records right here just to prove that I'm not that or that person that they accused me of, and I need my money back." You know, and then the judge had turned around and listened to them. He said, "That's all you got to say?" And I said, "Yeah, that's all." And he went and listened to them. Then their lawyer, uh, uh, can, uh, you know, started talking about his whole record and how he's a law-abiding citizen or whatever you want to do. And then he goes, I would like for the guy, me, to pay them about $1,500 and for his fees and stuff for representing his client, and then they ended up winning in court, even though I showed up like I did with proof. They claimed that it was an informal court, so I could argue, but they didn't. I couldn't argue nothing. They said my argument was I told them the truth, and they had to prove me guilty, and they never did. So they
So
claimed that they won.
so what they were operating under was Rule 92 of the rules of civil procedure. All right, in the state of Texas,
Okay.
Rule 92 states um, that you have to prove that they're lying. Even and so here's the deal: the judges typically, not always, like at Wilson County, where I'm at, the
Hmm.
judges, the county judges are typically are typically not bar association members. The ones that are voted in are former Texas Rangers, et cetera, et cetera. So even though they are bound to operate under this shit, they don't double down on it because they're not bar association attorneys. So the oath that they take to the bar association, one of the things within the oath is to is that or the first part of the oath, and as an oath uh, is structured, the first thing that you swear to in an oath is the most important. The second thing, the second most important. The third thing, the third most important, and on down the line. So the first thing that they swear to is that they will treat every court case as if it is a private bar guild matter. The second thing is that, excuse me, is their second obligation is to the court. The third thing is an obligation to the fucking client. All right. So if the judge is a bar guild member and the attorney is the bar guild member, then they're treating this like this is a private bar guild matter. Fucking, and I mean, I understand if you don't know that shit, then you can't object to it and request their fucking their uh written written public oath. If they oh, you don't have it, well then you're not a judge. You're just an administrative agent, fucking acting on behalf of the bar association as a servant to the fucking court, not a servant to the public. Um, but look, I understand that shit fucking happens, but you know when there is a false presumption of identity or false presumption of uh, status um, under USC. Shit, I got it in my phone. I think it's USC 18. Um, that they are subject to a $250,000 non-adjudicated penalty.
Mm.
Also, it's false presumption of status or standing is what it is. And I'll keep looking that up while I'm cooking. So by virtue of that, all you got to do is make that statement, and it doesn't have to be adjudicated. You simply send them a fucking true bill. Of course, they're
Hmm.
not going to want to pay it. All right, which means that but they're going to accept the fucking the contract, which means that they're not going to reply to you when you send it through certified mail. Um, a along with an affidavit and a true bill. Fucking in law, an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth and fact. I mean, and so these are some of the things you got to know, because if you don't know it, then they're just going to say shit. And any statement unrebutted is considered truth of fact. But the fact of the matter was that if the lawyer is up there making these statements, oh, really, what firsthand knowledge do you have of the facts presented within this matter? Well, I don't. Okay, well, if you do, then let's get you sworn in under pains and penalties of perjury. That way, you could be examined and cross-examined and be liable for any perjury, criminal or civil, if that's exactly what the court finds to be factual within this matter. A lot of these things, people don't know. They'll go in and they'll represent themselves instead of presenting themselves. You can't show up to court pro se. You got to show up there pro per or in propria persona, and you got to know what that means. Otherwise, they're going to hold you to the same standards that somebody is going to that an attorney would be held to if they had a formal education in law.
Mm-hmm. After that, I've been. While you looking, I was gonna say after that situation, I've been told by somebody else to never go into court without a lawyer.
So, all right, I found it. So, who told you to never go to court without a lawyer?
Probably another lawyer.
Probably another lawyer, yeah. Because they want you fucking subject to. Let me tell you what a lawyer's job is.
Mm-hmm.
Pat you on the back and say, well, we did the best we could while relieving you of your fucking wealth. That's it. That's the only thing they fucking do.
Pat on the back.
I mean, look at this shit. Fucking, the only thing that an attorney is going to do is say, well, if you give me a little more money, then I can get these charges down to something else. And then we can just, accept that plea deal. And let me tell you how it works. There's 3 bonds created when you're charged with a crime. All right, that's the bid bond, the appearance bond, and the fucking and the payment bond. All right.
Right.
Let me see. Oh, I thought that was in alphabetical order. I didn't do that very good. I'll look over it just a minute and find that. There it is. Mm-hmm. Armed wrongful assumption of status or standing. $200,000. I thought it was $250. $200,000. 18 USC 1001. Title 18, Section 1001.
Mm-hmm.
Wrongful assumption of standing. So,
I'm listening.
So, the judges, oh well, you need to go get an attorney. Well, I'll take that under advisement, Your Honor. Thank you for saying that, but there is no bar association attorney that is competent to represent me. If they want you to obtain an attorney, it's because they're looking for the plea deal. All right. That's why these courts have a 98% win ratio or 98% conviction ratio. All right. Even the people that hire the attorneys, okay, well, I'll get you down to, and then somebody accepts the fucking plea deal. Now, let me tell you what happens. So you've got the payment bond, the appearance or performance bond, and then the bid bond. That's utilizing standard forms 24, 25, and 25A. Okay. They create these bonds fucking completely unauthorized. They sell them to a reinsurance company out the damn back door of the courthouse, and and then they're then traded on the open market. I've never seen one for less than $2.5 million. by virtue of your signature on any paperwork that is then transplanted onto these bonds that you didn't authorize, but have to be in order for you to be to authorize, because you're the only source of credit in there. All those other, they're public servants. They represent a fucking bankrupt entity. Either a bankrupt entity or their fucking representation must be considered insolvent as well. Ain't nobody in there got the ability to fucking create these bonds without an authorized signature of a creditor. That's you. And for the most part, we don't even know this is happening. Do we really think that the towns and cities are operating off of fucking these $200 motherfucking speeding citations, or you know, sure, there's a lot of them, but is that enough to fucking keep all the roads paid? No, they're selling motherfucking bonds.
Excuse me, Tex.
If you know how to search
and
find it, you can find.
I'm gonna make a phone call real quick, and I'm gonna jump right back on after I make that phone call.
Cool. So, anyways, as these bonds are being created unauthorized, they're administrating the trust. That's why they want you to get a fucking lawyer, so that you can just plead to the shit. The attorneys in question, so the bid bond is split, right? The judge splits it 50-50. 50% goes into his pocket. The other half goes over to the prosecuting attorney. The prosecuting attorney then splits that 50%, thereby taking 25% and putting it in their pocket, while your attorney, whether you paid for them or whether they're court appointed or not, puts that in their pocket. Now, do you see why they all fucking get along, eat supper with each other, while in the courtroom they put on this play that they can't stand each other? They're mad and they're really doing everything they can to duke it out legally in the fucking court, in the legal arena. Give me a fucking break. You ain't gonna bullshit me. Anyways, look, it's getting late. Picasso, I know you're on your phone call, whatever, but I got to go. I'm gonna eat some supper. I'm gonna hang out with my sweetheart before I call it a night. I'll see y'all again sometime soon on another episode of The Truth with Tex, and I'm gonna break it down for y'all some more. Y'all have a wonderful evening and a great week. Adios.